to go even further beyond!
True Colors was without a doubt the best episode of Amphibia to date. There were so many intense moments, it almost felt like a whole different show, but in a good way. And now with Season 3 confirmed to be taking place back on Earth, Amphibia is really breaking the mold in a way I didn't think was possible, and I couldn't be happier. But out of all the great things that True Colors brought to the table, without a doubt my favorite was Anne's new Calamity form, which has been unanimously dubbed as Super Saiyan by the Amphibia fandom. I'm not sure who was the first person who thought of the name, but thank you to whoever started the trend because that name is just too perfect of a fit. I love it. Action scenes like this are what I've been craving for so long. Of course Amphibia has had action scenes, but nothing of this caliber so far. So in honor of this form, I'm going to be doing my best to explain how this form works and what kind of abilities Anne gains when she's in this form. First, let's start off with how she's able to gain access to this form in the first place. Since being transported to Amphibia, Anne, Sasha, and Marcy each developed an unknown connection to one of the stones on the Calamity Box each, granting them some type of power. The stone Anne was connected to was the Heartstone, and anytime these powers would activate, the audience would be able to tell because Anne's eyes would glow blue. However, there have been a couple exceptions, like when she received the glowing blue sword from Tritonio, and when that same sword glowed blue in the Season 2 intro. And whenever this happened, all of her senses would become heightened in a sense, and she got a lot stronger. The two times this happened prior to True Colors was when Anne saved Sprig from the giant mantis in episode 1, and when she defeated the vegetable monster in the first episode of Season 2. Her change in demeanor was much more apparent the second time though, being able to dodge the veggie monster's attack without even looking at it, then proceeding to slay it right after with relative ease. I made a video in the past comparing these powers to One Piece's Haki system, but if anything, now it feels more like the Sharingan ability from Naruto. And the reason I say this is because these powers, at least anytime her eyes have glown, have been activated when she's going through extreme negative emotions that quote-unquote break her heart in a sense. The trigger for the veggie monster fight was seeing it destroy the planter home, which was the home she had been taken into and cared for since she arrived in Amphibia. And with the Sharingan, Uchiha clan members acquire their Sharingan by experiencing powerful emotional conditions with regards to someone precious to them. And they can acquire an even more powerful version of the Sharingan called the Mangekyo Sharingan by experiencing the specific trauma of losing a loved one, mainly if said loved one dies in that person's presence in a tragic or sudden manner. So to make a comparison, Anne's fight with the mantis/veggie monster was as if she acquired regular Sharingan, and when she was under the impression Sprig was going to die after being dropped by King Andrias, that in a sense activated Mangekyo. Now I bet some of you are thinking, Mark, why are you talking about Naruto so much when you literally have Anne wearing Goku's gi in the thumbnail standing next to Goku himself? Here's the thing. Although in terms of design and fighting style, this form is a lot more similar to Super Saiyan Blue Goku, when it comes to how the powers are acquired, it's a lot more like the Sharingan from Naruto, because correct me if I'm wrong, Goku becomes Super Saiyan Blue by absorbing the powers of a god, activating those powers, then transforming into a Super Saiyan right after. I think Vegeta did it differently, but that's how Goku did it. I'm not as informed on Dragon Ball as I am with Naruto, believe it or not, so forgive me. But now let's talk about what Super Saiyan is actually capable of. Although only shown using these powers for about a minute in True Colors and another few seconds in the Season 3 intro, we were given a pretty good idea of what Anne's capable of. Her physical strength and speed increased tenfold. The hand slam she did off the bat was enough to make 2 Frobos explode without Anne making any physical contact with them. Right after, she's either so fast that Andrias can't see her, or she teleports in front of him to land her first hit. And this punch, although not strong enough to knock him on the ground, made his crown fly off his head with enough force to have it crack in the castle wall and get stuck there to boot. And she's doing this all while it's flying. I think Anne ignores the law of gravity altogether in this form actually, since she was seen clinging to the castle ceiling after dodging Andrias' hand slam. After dodging the Frobos lasers with more light speed precision, the punch she delivers to Andrias' shield had enough force behind it to destroy 6 Frobos this time instead of only 2, all while it's creating a blue shockwave that knocked Polly over and almost Sasha and Grime as well. Although Andrias was able to resist Anne's punch for a little, she still forced him onto his knees and ended up shattering the shield anyway, knocking him back in the process. This was something I didn't notice in my breakdown actually, but the branches in Anne's hair actually grew more as she was putting more force into her punch towards the end. So I guess the more power she conjures, the longer the branches get. When it comes to what we saw in the Season 3 intro, it seems to foreshadow that Anne will be able to eventually access this form at will rather than having having to undergo another form of heartbreak / emotional trauma to be able to use it. In this scene, she's trying to defend the planters from the flying Frobo firing missiles at them. She uses her light speed to destroy 2 of the missiles, then grabs the 3rd one to hurl back at the group of Frobo to destroy them. It makes me wonder if Anne is going to undergo some kind of self-training arc to perfect the usage of this form. I still think the craziest thing about all of this is the power she had against King Andrias wasn't even the full potential she technically had prior to the Second Temple. We gotta remember that the majority of the gem's powers were drained from Anne at the end of the Second Temple. About 70 to 75% of the gem had been restored, meaning Anne was using only 25 to 30% of the power she had when she first arrived in Amphibia until the events of this episode occurred. To make a loose comparison, it's kind of like Deku's One For All full cowling only using a percentage of One For All's power so his body can gradually adjust to it. If Anne was able to use 100% of the stone's power, Andrias would have been taken out after that first punch, I guarantee you. He probably would have been sent flying out of the castle in the process too. I also wonder if she was using 100%, would she have been able to be in this form longer than she did in True Colors or shorter? It's more power, so you'd think it'd be more strain on her body, but at the same time, maybe it only had a time limit because so much of the power had been drained already. There's a lot of factors at play here. I cannot wait to see more of this form though. I'm really hoping the other 2 are able to get their own Super Saiyan S forms too. Just imagine all 3 of them in these forms fighting the Knight or both King Andrias and the Knight in the season 3 finale. My body would not be able to handle it. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on this new form. Do you like it, dislike it, think it has even more potential to it than what's already been shown? I'd love to know your thoughts. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. It helps me out a ton. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Take care. Bye-bye.